welcome to lesson 4 of our video series on video production for lessons in the classroom. And if you're a student and you're learning some iMovie skills, something I realized that as I'm starting to progress through this is actually an older version of iMovie. There's a new one out now, iMovie, I believe it's 11, that has some different features which I'm hoping to upgrade to in the near future. But I want to continue out this video lesson series using the particular iMovie that I'm in, so we don't change things up and all of a sudden you see new features and details that are not currently available in the video program I'm using. So if you're still using the older version of iMovie, then this is very appropriate. If you're using a newer version of iMovie, then more than likely you will have some details that we're not looking at and some other features, but still beneficial. A lot of the main backbone of this program will remain the same. So what I was noticing was, as we finished off here with the student that was going through her fruit preservatives, we kind of ended with her kind of smirking at the camera a little bit, and I want to lead into another student maybe doing their project or maybe going into a Rube Goldberg machine. So I want to look down at some of the footage we've got recorded and kind of see what we've got in the way of footage that we can pull in. Now I'm just kind of looking here, and right here we have a Rube Goldberg machine where a student is explaining what's about to happen. I'm really more interested in the action, which you can kind of see right here. And so I'm going to look where they start and see if we can capture the actual effect of the whole thing. So we'll start playing right about here and see what happens.
The wall, which will move the cup off the ledge, which picks up our pulley. The car will move and hit the little marble over there, goes through our wedge, goes down the tube, goes down the hose and hits the other hose. The dice will hit the dominoes. The dominoes will go and hit the car again, and the car.
You want to get to where it's actually playing. So it looks like right here they had a portion of their project that didn't work out. So I'm trying to see if I have any footage of an actual project that's working all the way through. So let's try this one. What?
What?
Let's try it down here.
Okay, ready when you are.
Okay, still has some glitches here, but I like the fact that the newscaster that was here interviewing our students earlier shows back up again in this particular clip. So I want to go ahead and grab this part. Just seeing real quick what this is. So yeah, I'm going to grab this portion of the clip, and I'm going to drag it up here and drop it. I know I want to put a transition in because we're moving from one student's project to another. So I'm going to go and look at my transitions real quick. And let's go with, let's try a page curl, and we'll drop it in here. And I want that to be also another gradual spin, so I'm going to go 1 second on it. And if you remember from our last video session, we actually, the music stopped short of finishing up. So I'm going to go ahead and drag it across and let it continue through this student's video. See if that's the end of it. Keeps going. And so let's kind of get a view for what's going on. Here we go. Okay, so because we're actually changing from one type of project to another, I want to go back in and add some words to this. And so I like this overlap one right here. And so the viewer knows, well, why was the other student's project interactive like this one? I want people to understand that we have versions of different projects in this. This is a high school Rube Goldberg machine. And so what I'm going to do is drop this right here, and I'm going to type in Rube Goldberg machines. And so that transition or that text is going to take 4 seconds. So as it comes in, okay, so I'm pretty satisfied with that. Not much editing in that clip. It's a lot of good interaction. A student had to kind of motivate his project to work a little bit closer. I want to go into right here. We have some of our judges looking at a girl's project here. We already have some of that clip, and that's what's nice is that I've had a few weeks span between me starting the very first video on this editing training. And so what I'm looking at here is I have this orange line on this segment of the video, and that lets me know that I'm already utilizing that somewhere in my video up here. So if I were to scroll up here, I'm going to see that portion of the clip that's going on right here. So this section of the clip is coming from right here. And so I don't want to reutilize that clip. In fact, I really don't want any portion of it because I want to show some new footage of what's going on. And so here's some stuff from students.
Okay, so come in just a little bit closer. Okay, so what I'm going to...
On this side, we have the objects that were in the boxes, and we have the marble, pencil, and the football, orange penny, cat, cow, elephant, and the makeup. And this is what they got to see for 10 seconds. And that one is a second container for the first time and second time.
Okay, the thing that's disappointing me is that I didn't capture footage of her telling me the title of her slide to start this off with, and that would have been a better thing to introduce the new project with. So I'm going to scroll up here and just see some other things that we have.
Yay!
Okay, cool. So we have a successful Rube Goldberg project. It'll be nice to add this one in because it actually follows another Rube Goldberg. So we'll grab it. And so I'm going to select all, drag it up here. I'm going to take another transition. And let's go with a cube. We'll drop it right here. And we'll drag it out for another second. And so it's going to transition like this.
Yay!
Okay, I like that. So looking for some more sounds to go in here. Maybe some more music to kind of jump in here. See, that segment is 14 seconds long, so I know I want at least 14 seconds. Probably want it to go into another video clip that I'm going to have. So let's look at something that's around, let's go ahead and say 30 seconds or so and see what we have available. Actually, this travel sounds pretty good. What I like about that one, it's just kind of got that old style feel to it, and we're dealing with Rube Goldberg. Not a bad idea to kind of tie that in right there. And what I'm going to do is actually start it here so it's connected to this clip. It's anchored, so you see this little green part that comes up. So if I shift it over, as the other music fades out, I grab my anchor. I don't want to move my anchor off that clip, but I do want the music to come in as the other one's fading off. And so what I'm going to do is double click that, go back to audio. This is just a regular thing I do. I want to fade in manually, maybe about 3.9 seconds is fine. Fade out, I normally want to fade things out, so I'll say done. Even though this music is going to go past the actual end of the video. And remember, I slid it a minute ago. So once I grab another clip and add to the end of this, then I'll have the option to drag it out. So here we go. Okay, and what's nice about this one, sometimes I'll choose to actually bring the audio, like I'll go into this clip and go into audio, and I will actually pull the volume out of the audio so the music kind of overpowers it. But in some cases, such as this one, the noise of the contraption going on behind the music actually has a really nice feel to it. And so I think it continues to draw your interest as a viewer. And here we have some students that are actually talking about their project. And let me go back up here again because I think they were in this other clip. And Maybe not. But I did see a clip here. What's going on here?
Your control environment. How did you
Well, the temperature when it's like in the morning, it gets cold.
and that to basically
No, my cousin, she took a picture while she was using the app.
okay, let's so you put the
Okay, I like this one because it's a judge talking to a student. And this clip, let's see here. If I go all the way back to the beginning, it's about a minute long.
how did you vary the temperature in your control environment? How did you
Well, the temperature when it's like in the morning, it gets cold. In the afternoon.
Okay, so we're going to do something different this time. What I want to do is actually grab this clip. I want to grab the whole thing. Oops, I've actually grabbed everything. Come up here and click off and then come back. I'm going to click all this. I did it again. I think it's this window right here. Okay, I'm going to grab it all. Drag it up here. And what I'm going to do is another feature that can be utilized and kind of see how this works. I have quite a bit of a segment of her. And I don't think I'm going to want to use all the video in this capacity. What I want to do is use her same video as a cutaway. So you got to kind of think ahead a little bit about what you're doing here, because I want the conversation not to be interrupted as we cut away back to the same video where she's showing some things. And so what I'm going to do is detach audio. And what that allows me to do is maintain some things. So as he's talking, everything still matches his mouth, so we're not like off with our audio and our video track. Now if I want to go back in here and grab a few little deals, because I don't want to show the entire video. So I want to show him kind of pointing to some things of the deal while he's talking. And I'm just going to drag it up here, because you can tell he's talking about the board. And so I'm going to actually do a cutaway right here. And in this particular situation, I am going to take the audio out, because otherwise it will interfere with itself. And so now when I play it,
I haven't read this, but how did you vary the temperature in your control environment? How did you
okay, so it just adds a different effect here. And what I'm going to do is do another fade in on the cutaway. We did that earlier in our video lesson, the past video lesson. And I'm going to say done. And let me just kind of show you what the opacity will do. If I lessen the opacity, what could happen? So I'm going to say done, just so you can see what that feature does.
vary the temperature in your control environment?
Okay, so you know it's kind of that ghosting image, and it's not that great right there because we don't see enough of the project to understand what's going on. So let me play with that idea, that concept a little bit, and bring it in where it's not 100% opaque, but where it's slightly transparent, so we still see him talking. So now we go again.
Vary the temperature in your control environment.
Okay, so after looking at it, I'm pretty satisfied with going with 100%. Sometimes things work out, sometimes they don't work out as well as you want them to. But I kind of like that effect, that he's talking, we're using the same clip as the cutaway.
Vary the temperature in your control environment. How did you
Well, the temperature when it's like in the morning, it gets cold. In the afternoon.
so
Okay, and then what I want to do is actually the audio pullout isn't necessary because as we come back to him, it's actually a satisfying looking video clip. What I initially was thinking when I pulled the audio off of it was that we may trim the clip, where we would do this and say trim clip or split clip, and then we would delete it. And what that would allow me to do, well, actually the audio went away, so forget the whole concept of that. I'm going to go ahead and delete that. And even though I split the audio earlier, the audio still is really there. It's almost like it makes a duplicate. So I'm going to double click it, come back to audio, and it reduces it to 0 because it had pulled it out. So I'll pull it back up to 100%. And right there. And so since we use that portion of the clip right here, as part of the cutaway just a little while ago. I don't want to do that again. So
How did you
Well,
I'm going to actually undo a little bit because I want that clip is still split. And so I delete this. What I did was just Command Z until I got back to my full clip because I had split it. Well, it's still split. We can still do a workaround. So workarounds become a normal thing when you're doing iMovie editing because you accidentally do something you didn't mean to do. But like this is 100% audio.
How did you
But when I adjusted that audio back up to 100%, this one didn't get adjusted. So it's like silent. So I'm going to have to adjust its audio as well. So I'm going to go to audio here, go ahead and make it 100%, say done. And I want to find a good stopping point for the conversation because I'm just giving the viewer a little bit of a feel for the science fair since they weren't there to see it. Or maybe for those that were, it's just a review of what happened. So
the temperature, when it's like in the morning, it gets cold. In the afternoon.
Oh, so you did a certain time of the day.
Yes, a certain time of the day.
okay, right there, I want to trim it right there where she ends her speaking. So I'm going to say split clip. And I want to delete.
How did you
Well, the temperature, when it's like in the morning, it gets cold. In the afternoon.
Oh, so you did a certain time of the day.
Yes, a certain time of the day.
Okay, it did not split there. So somewhere I got some double splits.
Yes, a certain time of the day.
Okay, so I'm going to split it right there. I'm going to right click, say split clip. And this portion of it I want to delete. These two, sometimes you can join them. I haven't had a lot of success with that in the past, so I may be doing something wrong there. Join clip, let's see what happens. Okay, and then here, grab that one, join clip. So now it's one single clip now. So make sure it's working right.
Vary the temperature in your control environment. How did you
Well, the temperature, when it's like in the morning.
Okay, so that's pretty good. So if you remember in our Rube Goldberg one, we had music that didn't completely come all the way in. So I'm going to drag it all the way through now. Now, I don't want the music going into their conversation for much. Maybe just to begin it a little bit. I want to go ahead and put a transition in here. So we'll do maybe a cross zoom on this at this point. And then I'm going to double click the audio, the music here, and make sure that I did fade it out. So let's see how it sounds coming into it. Okay, here's another technique we can use. We can double click this, and we're going to go to audio and say ducking. And what that's going to allow it to do is as this video clip starts playing, it reduces the sound even more. So listen to it now.
How did you vary the temperature in your control environment? How did you
Okay, so that's pretty good. And what I want to do is kind of go back down here. I've got some more green screen footage that I could easily use. And the thing about the green screen is we've already kind of seen that play out in this lesson. And so I may choose to add that later since I'm kind of trying to think of you as the viewer, the learner, in using editing software, what else I could help you with. And there's all sorts of things we could do that can help enhance video. And so let's try to find a Rube Goldberg machine that maybe has not been used yet, such as this one. Okay, they kind of had a trouble with theirs, so.
1, 2, 3. One, two, three.
Yeah.
Oh yeah!
Okay, so we kind of saw that one earlier. It's actually a successful machine. We didn't have any troubles with it, but I like the fact that the news person was playing the other one. So what I may do is we'll play around a little bit with some other techniques you could use that I probably won't leave in the final video, but just so you can see how they can be utilized in other effects and other video cases. So I'm just going to grab some clips. We'll kind of play with them for this lesson. And then I'll probably be wrapping this clip up pretty quickly because there's not a whole lot more I want to do to this particular clip that we haven't already seen. But let's just kind of play around a little bit. Let's grab some of this video here, like where she's talking. And let's just talk about some things that we could do. In fact, actually, I think I can use her in a different way and actually teach maybe some of the concepts here. So here's some things we could do. So I'm going to take her and drag her up here, and let's go into video adjustments or clip adjustments, and go into video. Actually, it is clip, and go down to video effects. Video effects allows you to do lots of things. We can actually do film grain, which makes it look kind of old style. We can do hard light, day into night, vignette, which kind of blurs the edges, romantic, which kind of seems like almost a dream. Dream and romantic are a lot the same. Glow, bleach bypass. Then we have old world and some other effects, X-ray, which gets really crazy. We can actually flip the video. When you do a flip video, be aware that, of course, if you have any text, it's going to flip and look like a mirror image. And cartoon just kind of gives you kind of an outline drawing kind of portion to it. But it's kind of nice sometimes to add some different effects. So we use the dream effect and kind of show you what that looks like.
On the
this side we have the objects that were in the boxes, and we have the marble, pencil, and the football, orange penny, cap, cow, elephant, and the makeup.
And so if we don't like that, we can double click it again. Go into dream. We can change it to hard light or something else. And some other things we can do too is sometimes there's a need sometimes to kind of add some humor or some sort of added anticipation to your clip. And what you can do is do multiple splits. And you can go split and come over here and say split again. And all I'm doing is right clicking each time, split again, and split again. And what that allows you to do is add effects at different points. So I could actually click this again, change this to black and white, and it's just going to affect that segment. Double click this one, click here, maybe use an X-ray here, something really kind of bizarre. And if you want to go and see, some of my other videos I've posted, watch for these types of things because I use them pretty regularly to add different types of, just interest into the video. And then maybe speed this one up. And those can be funny. Slow this one down. And I'm not going to utilize this, actually, but it at least lets you see some things. And you can actually do adjustments by increments, like you could go 75% of the actual speed. It's not 100%. So let's kind of see what's going on here now.
That's a certain time of the day.
On this side we have the objects that were in the boxes, and we have the marble, pencil, and the football, orange penny, cap, cow, elephant, and the makeup. And
is what they remember. The first container is the dark one, and the light one is.
Okay, so what's kind of neat is like you can emphasize something. Like if we went into a portion where she says something kind of interesting about her board.
Cap, cow, elephant, and the makeup.
Go back here.
Pencil, and the football, orange penny. We have the objects that were in the boxes, and we have the marble, pencil.
Okay, she's mentioning some things, marble and pencil.
Pencil, and the football, orange.
Okay, so this whole clip, let's try doing a right click and say copy, and then right click and say paste, and then paste again. And you can kind of have some fun with these. So what you could do is right click and or double click, I'm sorry, and go in here and you can change it to something totally different, like a negative, and you can speed it up. And then we'll go to the same clip because it's duplicated. Double click it, change it to maybe sepia. And then on this speed, maybe speed it up as well. And do it again because we have it a few times. Slow this one down this time. And it's in black and white. And so I'm going to keep it black and white because that's a pretty neat effect. Say done. Now when we watch it, it's going to look like this.
Certain time of the day.
On this side we have the objects that were in the boxes. And we have the marble pencil and the
So by playing around with timing, playing around with sound, playing around with all sorts of things, you can make that very effective. But what I want to basically do is probably wrap up this science fair video. It's only 2 minutes and 58 seconds. It's not that long, but my anticipation in this video from the start was to go ahead and get the actual news footage that ended up on the news. And I believe we have that up here. So I'm going to go File, Import Movies. I'm going back to my backup drive again. And I'm going to go to Video Clips for Training. And I'm going to go into Final News Clip from KVII. This was actually downloaded off YouTube. It's what the newscast ran that night after our science fair. And I'm going to go ahead and import it. And so import. And somewhere I imported more than I wanted to. Let me go File, Import again. I'm not too sure why it did that. I may do it again. Nope. Okay, it's importing right now. It's not a very long clip, so it's going to take less than a minute. Sometimes it has a processing time too, as it's starting to get it embedded into the portion that we're going to be using down here. And so I'm going to probably pause the video here for a second, and then we'll come back. Actually, it's going to take less time than I needed it to, so we're good to go. So here in just a second, it's going to show up here at the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down and try to find that clip. Okay, right here.
From Pinocchio's arm, we tested the ability to detect a lie by applying pressure to the arms when someone is telling the.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and grab it. And come down here and drop it to the end. And basically, I'm letting the news channel that put this together kind of end our program. And so what I want to do is allude to that. So what I want to do is actually drop in a black background between these scenes. So I'm going to come down here and grab this black area here, drop it there. And so I want the previous video to fade into black. So I'm going to use a transition and use this fade to black and drop it right here before the black portion comes in. That'll actually give it a natural fall into the video. And the reason I want that black screen is I actually want to draw some text in here, and I want to give credit to the news station that came out and talked to us, and so it was KVII. And so what I want to do is find an appropriate way to transition that. So what I'm going to do is grab this and drop it right here and say Science Fair 2012, KVII, news footage. Drop the size. You could also change the color if you wanted to. I'm pretty satisfied with white on black, so I'm going to keep that. You can also change the font here, so you can do all sorts of things. I always like impact, it's more bold. Say done, and then let's watch and see how it's looking.
Certain time of the day.
From Pinocchio's arm.
Okay, I also want to do a transition into it. So I'm going to come back here and let's do a cross dissolve. Also want to bring some music back in a little bit as we come into that portion. I don't need very much music, so this transition was only like 3.2 seconds. So I'm going to come back and go up here to about 5. Let's see what this is. Not crazy about that one. That one's not bad. So we'll grab it, drop it right here, and it falls into the news footage a little bit. Again, what I want to do is go to audio, do some fade ins and fade outs on my music. Say done. Go again.
Yes, a certain time of the day.
Pinocchio's arm, we tested the ability to detect a lie by applying pressure to the arm.
Okay, now I'm not too concerned about what shows up here at this point because it's all from the news station. It is grainier than my high definition, and I may just put a little thing in there to clarify why it's grainy. So what I'm going to do is use a scrolling bar, which we have its. And if you notice anything that's blue is where it's going to show up. And I'm just going to drop it here, and then you can type in what you want to say here. And I'm going to just make a comment. I'll say note, video quality is poor due to being pulled from website. Okay, and I want that to actually go out longer than 4 seconds. I want it to go about 8 seconds. Just see what that does for us.
From Pinocchio's arm, we tested the ability to detect a lie by applying pressure to the arms. When someone is telling the truth.
Okay, it went by a little fast, so I'm going to go 12 seconds. Say done. So I'm going to drag that out further, and I'll be pretty satisfied with that.
Tested the ability to detect a lie by applying pressure to the arms. When someone is telling the truth.
Okay, so what I normally do at this point is I actually finish out my videos by putting a little advertisement on the end to encourage others that might be interested to come back and review other videos that I have available on my YouTube channel. I also will put out the link for my Facebook as well as my Twitter account to hopefully keep a following to my YouTube items that I have going on. And so I'll add that here at a later point. This video has kind of extended the time that I intended to, but we'll end here. And what we'll finally do at the end is I'll say share, export movie, just like we've done before when we flatten videos. Make sure it's HD, and then go to video lesson trainings, and I'll change that to video lesson 4. I'll save it to my desktop, and then I'll say export when I finish here, and then I'll go ahead and upload that to YouTube. And in our next video lesson, I'll show you how to go about exporting items to YouTube and setting up a YouTube account and those types of things. So that'll be our next lesson. So we're kind of done showing this particular video, showing it from start to finish. If you want to look on the video or on the site later, you'll see the actual completed video available for viewing. And if I wasn't using it for a video lesson, I might have done a few things differently, but I pretty much got the concepts to the audience on how to do the video editing. If you have additional questions, feel free to leave me a comment or send me a tweet. Just look at my Twitter account and send me a tweet, or feel free to post a comment on Facebook. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this series. Continue to look as I post more instructional portions on posting and how to connect your Facebook and Twitter account.